Rediscovering our self worth and embodying it is not an overnight process. It's a journey. It's a journey of remembering, shedding, and becoming. Remembering, shedding, and becoming. It takes some time, but I want to give you something that you can do today to remember who you are, remember what you're made of.
Hey, I'm Brooke Jean, therapist, recovering perfectionist, and struggling working mom on a mission to normalize normal. If you're an overwhelmed, high achieving, and secretly anxious mama, struggling to balance it all and on the brink of burnout, you are in the right place. Here is where we talk about hard things like balancing work and family life, mental health, and how to navigate life altering transitions. Nothing is too taboo here. In my conversations, I'll teach you how to let go of who you think you're supposed to be in order to create the life you've always wanted. Get ready to embrace your messy, shed the shoulds, and find freedom through a life unperfected. This is the Unperfected Pod.
Welcome back to the Unperfected Pod, where we normalize normal and find freedom in a life unperfected. What is up, mama? Welcome back. I'm so happy and grateful that you are here. Y'all, we have done it. We have officially had our perfectionism detox masterclass. We have officially opened the doors to Unstuck and Unstoppable, overcoming perfectionism and reclaiming your true worth. You can still get in on that program. It is basically a self paced online course, 5 modules teaching you the psychology, neuroscience, and energetics backed methods to help you get unstuck and become unstoppable. I teach you all about your parts so you can identify your inner child, your perfectionistic managing part, which is a protective part. I help you reconnect to your inner CEO self, which is your highest self, your badass warrior. I teach you my favorite go to therapeutic techniques to diffuse from negative thoughts, to rewire your brain, to reprogram your subconscious core beliefs. I guide you through exercises to rediscover who you are, buried under who the world told you to be. I teach you time management strategies, energy management strategies, and sanity management strategies so that as you literally get unstuck, you literally get out of a freeze response, you regulate your nervous system, then you know what action to take. And you know what action to take based on who you are, what you want, and what your soul is calling you forward to do. And all of that and so much more happens in the privacy of your own home at your own pace. It's a bunch of not live videos, but pre recorded videos and PDFs and assessments and tools and just all sorts of good stuff. So make sure you guys check the link in the show notes. Unstuck and Unstoppable is live and open now. We would love to invite you into that program. And yeah, it's been a journey. I'm having so much fun learning all of these marketing things like funnels, building funnels for those of you that are thinking about having an online component to your business, having a social media strategy and a lead magnet, and then a place to nurture people, and then how to write emails to invite people into something, how to sell it, how to make sure it's a fabulous experience, all of those things. It has all been like learning a brand new language for me. And listen, honey, we have a growth mindset over here. So even if we're slow, we can learn anything. And that is the mantra that I've been telling myself over and over in the last 3 months that I've been building this is we can learn anything. And progress is better than perfection. How do we get things to the finish line? We take baby steps day after day with consistency. We stay open, we fail forward, we lean on resilience, and we will get there. And while we're doing that, we have some fun. We have a playful spirit. We celebrate a lot. And here's the kicker, we remain detached emotionally from specific outcomes. So I'm creating these courses so that we can help more people. so that we can get people into our world of what does it mean to be unperfected? How do I heal the parts of me that were running to anxiety and perfectionism in the first place? How do I know who I am? How do I create a life that I love? How do I leverage my gifts? What even are my gifts? Like all that stuff that if you're meeting with me one on one, or you're in my mastermind, or you're in my trainings, or you're in any of the group containers that I lead, we're starting to give some of this to you at a different price point and accessible whenever you want to access it. And so my mission is to just help more women, right? Ditch who they think they're supposed to be so that they can be who they really are, so that they can live a life they actually love. Because I firmly believe when you heal the mother, you heal the world. And I firmly believe that now more than ever, we need women embodying their power, embodying their gifts, embodying their potential so that we can solve complex problems now more than ever. And so I'm creating these things so that we can help more women, so that we can get the mission out into the world. But I'm not attached to a specific outcome. And that has helped me along the way. So, anyways, that is just what's going on behind the scenes. We invite you in. We would love to have you, but I also like to keep it real and share with you guys as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, what's like, how are we doing the damn? This was a whole new language for me. I am a novice at this, and I allow myself to try again, try different, and to just keep showing up. And that is how we end up completing something. So I think there's probably a little nugget in that storytelling that you can take and apply to your world in any of the spaces and places right now that you're trying something new. And maybe it's not coming naturally. Maybe it feels really prickly and sticky, and maybe you're like me and you like listen to a module and read through the copy and nothing is sticking. You're like, I am not retaining this information. Let's normalize that. Sometimes we have to go over information once, twice, three times. It doesn't mean we're stupid. It doesn't mean we should give up. It doesn't mean we can't do it. Just keep going. And so I've been teaching my daughter a lot lately about try again, try different, because I notice that she gets really upset when she's not amazing at something right out of the gates. I wonder where she gets it from. And she's trying to do things like learn roller skating and do these ninja classes and moves in gymnastics. And I'm really trying to model for her, like, we just keep trying. We're not supposed to get it the first time. Like, that's not how anything is built. You keep coming back to the drawing board. And I had this opportunity to show her that I would live that while I'm extending this branch of the business. And it was cute because we were at the basketball court in front of our house the other day, um, roller skating. And she was like, I just have to try again and try different. And something in me melted when my sweet pea repeated something that I'm very intentionally trying to teach her. So, we get to fail forward. We get to try again, try different. We get to ask again, ask different. And we're patient and we are consistent and we believe in ourselves. And that's how you get there, right? So, going into today's topic, which is around self worth. So, y'all have heard me say before that a lot of times perfectionism is born out of this belief that we're not enough or we have to be a certain way. We have to do it just right. We have to get straight A's. We have to be the star dancer or athlete or the go to medical school. And because it's tied to some sort of worthiness, validation, attention, affection, safety. And so, in part of becoming unperfected, and certainly a piece of the program that I just created, Unstuck and Unstoppable, is reconnecting you to your core self worth and then building upon it, strengthening it, juicing it up, if you will. And so people ask me all the time, Brooke, like, how do you build self worth? And what I want to say to that is it's a lifelong journey. Okay. You were born worthy. You were born this precious little being who is deserving and worthy of all of the gold and the gifts that the universe has to offer. Think about your babies. They are born worthy and deserving of everything that's good. And throughout our lives, things happen and we receive messages and rejections that chip away at the self worth. So I'm saying this because I want you to know that you started with a healthy tank of self worth, right? When you were two and you had no qualms, throwing fits and asking for what you wanted and getting into everything and being curious and being in your imagination and being exactly who you are unapologetically, there was no qualms about it, right? It wasn't until we got older that we started having this like awareness about ourselves. And so the good news is you don't need to go muster up a resource that wasn't already there. Your self worth is in there somewhere, honey. It's just buried under traumas, roles, responsibilities, rejections, attachment wounds, judgment, comparison, society's standards of what a woman should be. Like, are you seeing here how easy it is to chip away at our self worth? It's not about going out there and getting more. It's about peeling off the layers of gunk that are blocking it so that it can unearth itself, so that it can shine bright, so that we can embody it in all of the ways. All right. And so rediscovering our self worth and embodying it is not an overnight process. It's a journey. It's a journey of remembering, shedding, and becoming. Remembering, shedding, and becoming. And so, one podcast episode is not going to make your self worth go from a 1 to a 10. You're not even going to do that in a month. Like, it takes some time. But I want to give you something that you can do today to remember who you are, remember what you're made of, because this is the stuff that makes you, and boy, is it worthy of all that's. So, this exercise is called what do I call it? The life timeline exercise. The life timeline exercise. So, if you can get out a piece of paper, if you're driving, you can just listen and then go back and do the physical component of this later, or you can just pause the whole darn thing. But get out a sheet of paper, lay the paper down horizontally, okay? And I want you to start on the left side of your paper at birth. And I want you to draw a line in the middle all the way across your sheet of paper to the right side, which is where you are today. And I want you to start to plot from the moment you were born to today the highest moments of your life and the lowest moments of your life. You can plot them however you want. I like to do the highest moments above the middle line and the lowest moments below, and I do them chronologically, right? So if it's something when you're a child, it's going to be closer to when you were born. If it's something that's happened recently, it's going to be closer to the right hand side of the paper. But you think about things that were traumatizing to you growing up, like your parents divorcing or somebody hurting you or getting rejected in the second grade or getting bullied or not making the cheer team or the swim team or moving. There's a lot of things that happen to us when we're little that we discredit and we don't realize that they leave a mark on us. And it's not all bad, by the way, but they do leave a mark. And so I want you to take a minute and I want you to start to plot out like what were those moments that really shifted you, right? So like for me, my sister being born with a brain tumor and her spending 2 years in the hospital and all of the things that our family went through. I was 8 years old when she was born. I was 8 years old when I made a conscious decision that I wasn't going to be a burden and I should be perfect because my family had enough going on. That is a moment that would be on my life timeline. My eating disorder that almost took me at 14, that's going to be on my timeline. Being cheated on while I'm pregnant and finding them in bed, not once, but twice. That's going to be on my timeline, realizing I was going to be a single mom, right? moving to Colorado from San Diego at 12. That's on my timeline, right? And then thinking about like the best moments of your life, right? The moments that really shifted you. So for me, those are certainly having both my babies, having Chloe, having Camden, launching my business, getting married, meeting my person, moving. We've had some really cool moves, vacations, retreats where I really discovered myself. The time when I was at the pinnacle of my target career and the Aurora Theater shooting happened, which was extraordinarily painful and traumatizing for everybody. That was a moment in time that kickstarted a pivot that would totally change my life. So that's really, I wouldn't label that good or bad because it was both and everything in between, depending on which angle that you looked at, right? It was devastating in so many ways. And it got me on my true path and it started my healing journey. So it's not about labeling it right or wrong or good or bad. It is just about plotting on this life timeline the massive, memorable events in your life that changed you, that shifted something for you. Okay. So take a minute to do that. Map those things out. All right. And then, by the way, this can be really emotional. So maybe you pause this and do this exercise when you have private time in a private space where you're not going to be interrupted, where you can have some tissues in case some emotion wants to move through your body, where you can light a candle, listen to some music, really nurture and nourish yourself. This is an exercise, but it's truly therapeutic. And in doing it, you're going to reconnect with some things that brought you big feelings, whether it's joy and excitement and pride, or sadness and grief and terror or anger, right? So we want to make sure that we're in the space where we can be in this exercise. We can feel the feelings that want to come through. We can be with ourselves. And so you pause this right now and wait and come back to this exercise later to do it. So, anyways, as you're in a position to do this exercise, just start to go through your life timeline. What were my highest moments? What were my lowest moments? And just honor them one by one. It's like that version of me, damn, she did get through that. Lay a flower at her foot. That version of me, damn, she really did get through that. Lay a flower at her feet. That version of me, dang, whoo, she did that. Take your time with this. Honor and acknowledge your experiences and the feelings that want to come up. And then once you've done that, so you might want to hit pause here again so you can go do that for a while. That might take some time. Come back, and I want you to, as you're zooming out and taking a bird's eye view and looking at the whole picture of all the moments that you plotted on this life timeline, I want you to notice the common thread that brings them all together. So, what is it that I experienced here and here? Maybe it's loss. Maybe it's rejection. Maybe it's resilience. Maybe it's determination. Maybe it's courage. Because the next question I'm going to ask you is like, how did you get through all of that? What is the common denominator about you that helped you get through all of it? Maybe you never gave up. Maybe you always held the vision. Maybe you believed in yourself. Maybe you asked for help. Maybe you were willing to fail forward. Maybe you were willing to ask for help, whatever it is, right? But notice the theme of your high and low moments in your life. There's a theme there. I want you to journal that out. I want you to have a ton of self compassion, a ton of self love, And I want you to notice, what is it about me that allowed me to get through that and that? Whatever that thing is, that's why you should have self worth. That's why you're you. That's why you're special, my love. So when I look at my life timeline, it's resilience. It is, you can think she is dead in the water, but come spring, honey, she is bubbing back up. Okay. She is budding. I was going to say bubbling back up, and then I was going to say budding back up. And then I combined the two because I love to do that. But she's budding back up. She doesn't give up. She can go through the trauma. She can go through the eating disorder. She can go through the young pregnancy and the single mom. She can go through the corporate trauma. She can go through the eating, drinking, and spending. She can go through all of it. And she still shows up for the people and the things and herself. That's resilience. That's why I'm worthy. I want you to do the same for you. What is it about you? What is it about you that got you through all that stuff? That's why you're amazing. That's why you're special. That's why you're you. That's why you're worthy, because just being you, who you actually are, underneath your roles and responsibilities, underneath your titles and subtitles, you, your essence, your energy, your soul, if you believe in that, is actually the thing that's perfect. That's actually the thing that's worthy. We just got lost in trying to be something else, right? That made us imperfect, that made us believe that perfectionism was something else, right? So take a look at that. And I want you to notice, do you see how much you've been through? Do you see how much you've overcome? Maybe you don't have time to go and do this deep exercise. Maybe you're just driving in your car and you're like, dang, I've overcome my parents' divorce. I've overcome moving away for school. I've overcome a big breakup. I've overcome an eating disorder. I've overcome financial problems. I've overcome a scarcity mindset. Whatever your list is, I know that if you're listening to this podcast, you have a list of at least 3 to 5 big things in the world that you've done and overcome. Becoming a mother. What? How are we not automatically classifying ourselves as the most worthy when we are the ones that birth creation? How are we not seeing our strength and our gold and our gifts when we are mothering? Okay? We forget sometimes. But when I look at like the road to self-worth, you have to start with self-respect. Can you respect? Maybe you didn't handle everything the way that you wish you would have. I know I sure as heck didn't. But I also know that overcoming the terrible ways that I would cope with things is part of my journey. It's part of my story. It's part of my resilience. It's part of my becoming, right? Think about the things that you've faced and think about if that was someone else besides you, if it was your sister, your best friend, your daughter, how much respect would you have? How much respect would you have for me when I tell you, hey, I overcame this trauma and this eating disorder and this, right? That same respect that you would show me or your sister or your daughter or your best friend, I want you to show that for you. Look at what you've overcome. Look at what you've done, babe. Look at how you, in all you've been through, you still show up for your family, for your team, for your people. Now I want you to start showing up for you. This is how we start to reconnect to our self-worth. Because that version of you that somehow knows to keep carrying forward, that somehow knows to get up and take care of her children when she's depleted, Whatever that source of strength is that pushes the effing baby out when you've been in labor or goes into it being cut out and recovering, that like otherworldly strength that comes out, that thing's worthy, baby. I'm here to remind you. But reconnecting to your self-worth is not about hearing um not even compliments, but like acknowledgement or validation from others. That will only cover a small sliver of it. You have to remember your strength, your essence, your gifts, your gold, and you have to see how badass they are. That's where we reconnect and unearth and strengthen our self worth. See, we get it wrong when we think if I get that promotion, I'll be worthy. If I just lose 5 pounds, I'll be worthy. If I break this bad habit, I'll be worthy. If I stop yelling at my kids, I'll be worthy. If I make this much money, I'll be worthy. If I live in this house, in this neighborhood, and drive this car, I'll be worthy. If my boss recognizes my worth, I'll be worthy. Those are superficial band aids to our self worth. They will be temporary and they will be fleeting. But when you can peel all that back and say, but who am I underneath all of this? Like, how have I continued carrying on in life? What has helped me ride the waves, the ups and the downs? What has my lived experience shown me in regards to who I am and what I got, what I'm worth? I want you to start to see that for what it is. And I want you to start to get more comfortable acknowledging it, honoring it, and validating it because it is a force to be reckoned with. And when I think about us women that have this energy around perfectionism or anxiety or whatever mental health thing we got going on or whatever pattern we've fallen into to survive, if we were to take all the energy that we're using to host that and channel it from our place of self worth into the things that actually light us up, we are a force to be reckoned with. And I am calling us all forward as women, as mothers, as leaders to use our resources wisely, to fill our own tank, to reconnect to our light, and to beam that light out into the universe so we can help others, so we can lead the way, so we can light the way, so that we can solve complex problems, so that we can create beautiful things that give people peace, so that we can help one another heal, so that we can become, so that we can rise. So, the self worth game, baby, it's a long game, but you started with some unshakable self worth. We just need to peel back the layers to reconnect to it. And then we need to pull it out and raise it up and hold it high and wear it proudly and run everything in our life, all of our decisions through our self worth. But we need to see it first. And we need to give it the credibility and the honoring that it deserves. So, if you have some time, do this life timeline exercise. This is going to remind you who the heck you are and what the heck you're made of. And I want you to journal it all out and I want you to look at it every day and I want you to wear it with pride. This is how we begin to reconnect with our self worth. So, this exercise and some others are built into the Unstuck and Unstoppable program. If you are interested in reclaiming your true and unshakable self worth so that can elevate you in life, leadership, and business, then get into that program or get into one of our containers because when we want big things in our life, like I know you do, you have big dreams, you have big goals. We don't want to be using waste, like, how do I say this? We want to use resources that are actually going to help us get there. Perfectionism is not going to help us sustain it, but our self worth undeniably will help us get there. So I want you to reconnect with and leverage your tools that are inherently inside of you to get where you want to go, whether that's in your life, leadership, or business. Okay. So do this exercise, see all your gifts in gold, call out, I am resilient, and or whatever the thing is that you found, wear it with pride. And we will keep having this conversation on this podcast. I'm sending you all so much love today and always. Take care of yourselves and there for each other. And I'll see you same time, same place next week. Bye for now. Hey, Mama, if you made it to the end of this episode, I just want to virtually high five you because you've said yes to the opportunity of taking better care of yourself. And that is so meaningful and so amazing. You have no idea the ripple of goodness that's to come. If you've been enjoying the show, if you've been finding it helpful, if you've laughed a little or learned a new technique, will you do me a favor? Will you make sure that you're following the show, that you've given us a 5-star rating and left a review? That will absolutely help us get this podcast into more heads and hearts of as many mamas as possible. Because when we heal the mother, we heal the world. Also, if there's a specific episode that you've loved, will you make sure to share it with a friend? Just send them the link or share it on social media and make sure you tag me at Brooke Jean Unperfected, because I absolutely love seeing that this is actually giving you the impact that you so desire and deserve. Thank you so much, mamas. Make sure you're taking care of yourselves and therefore each other.